My name is Jasmine, and I'm 28 years old. I live in Lincoln Park, a quiet neighborhood in Chicago, where sidewalks are lined with old oak trees, where dogs tug their owners from one block to another, and where little shops glow warmly in the evenings. From the outside, it looks like the perfect place for a perfect life. And if someone looked into my world for only a moment, they'd say I have it all: a gentle husband, a stable job at the bookstore on Clark Street, a cozy apartment filled with soft yellow light and the scent of old pages. But beneath the surface, behind the routine, behind the polite smiles, I carried a heaviness that followed me everywhere. A quiet ache hid under my skin, beneath my ribs, behind every breath. An ache of living a life that didn't fit me, an ache of pretending, an ache born from a truth I buried for a year. A truth that was simple, painful, sharp. I didn't love my husband, Mason, and worse, I had never loved him. Mason is 32, and in so many ways, he is the definition of a good man. Patient, tender, honest. He has warm brown eyes that soften when he smiles, and he listens with his whole heart. He brings flowers when I've had a hard day and slips little handwritten notes into my lunch, telling me I'm strong, that I'm beautiful, that I brighten his world. He calls me sunshine, even when my soul feels like a fading moon. Any woman would be lucky to have a man like Mason, and that truth only deepened the misery inside me, because while he loved me with steady, unwavering devotion, my heart stayed painfully, silently still. I hadn't married him out of joy or certainty. I married him out of brokenness. My ex-boyfriend, Alex, left me shattered, so shattered that I convinced myself the only way to heal was to cling to the first warm, steady presence I could find. Mason had been there when my world collapsed. He absorbed my tears. He offered his quiet comfort like a blanket against winter winds. I told myself love could grow. I told myself time would change everything. I told myself Mason deserved a chance. But time passed, and nothing changed inside me. Every morning I woke beside him with a hollow heart, pretending warmth I didn't feel. And every night, when he kissed my forehead and whispered, "Good night, sunshine," guilt seeped into my bones like cold water. One evening, we sat on our apartment balcony. The summer sky stretched above us, vast, peaceful, filled with stars that looked like scattered fragments of hope. Mason held my hand, his thumb brushing gently across my knuckles. "Mason, Jasmine, I know you don't love me yet, but I believe you will. I'm willing to wait. My love is strong enough for both of us." His sincerity felt like a blade pressed to my chest. He believed in a future I knew would never come. I was drowning in silence, trapped in a lie I didn't know how to escape. My mother used to say love could bloom over time, that marriage was more about companionship, respect, and steady loyalty than passion. I tried to believe her. I tried to let time work. But inside, I felt like an imposter wearing someone else's life. One Friday, Mason made a candlelit dinner, my favorite chicken pasta, soft music in the background, and he even wore the blue shirt I once said complimented his eyes. "This is for you, Jasmine. You are my everything. I forced a smile. I forced my gratitude. But the truth didn't move. I felt nothing. The food tasted like nothing. The music felt distant. His devotion slid off the empty walls of my heart. Later, he suggested we walk to the park where he had proposed a year earlier. I agreed, even as my chest tightened and my mind turned to fog. As we walked the familiar path, he squeezed my hand. Remember this place? I told you then that I'd love you forever. And all I wanted to do was scream the truth. I don't love you, Mason. But I couldn't. His happiness felt too fragile, too precious to crush. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, guilt swirling inside me like storm clouds. The next morning, my best friend Nina called. Jasmine, you sound exhausted. What's wrong? And the words slipped out of me like a broken whisper. I don't love Mason. I married him to forget someone else. And now, I feel trapped. Nina didn't judge. She didn't gasp. She didn't scold. She simply listened. Maybe you need some space. Maybe time away will help you understand what you truly want. But I knew the truth. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't healing. My heart simply did not belong to him. One Sunday morning, Mason asked a question that froze everything inside me. Jasmine, would you want to have a baby someday? With me? I think it would bring us closer. The idea of becoming a mother in a marriage built on emptiness terrified me. I'm not ready, Mason. Okay. His eyes softened with pain, but he didn't push. His gentleness only made the guilt sharper. That night, I wrote in my journal, I feel like I'm drowning in this marriage. Mason is a good man, but I can't be the wife he deserves. I'm scared to leave, but I'm even more scared to stay. For a moment, I even packed a small bag. For a moment, I stood at the bedroom door. For a moment, I thought I could walk away. But when I saw Mason sleeping peacefully, unaware of the storm inside me, my steps faltered. I placed the bag back inside the closet and sank to the floor, crying silently into my hands. The next morning, Mason greeted me with the same soft affection. Good morning, love. I believe in us. Those words were a knife every single time. Days blurred. Breakfast, work, quiet evenings, pretending, guilt, exhaustion. One Saturday, Mason brought movie tickets home, delighted like a child showing off a prize. Let's go tonight. I want to see you smile again. Even though my heart felt numb, I agreed. At the theater, he held my hand, laughed, leaned close, searching for joy in my face that simply wasn't there. Afterward, he asked, That was fun, right? Yes, it was nice. Back home, he wrapped an arm around me and whispered, I missed you, Jasmine. I couldn't reply. I stared at the window, feeling the chasm between us widen. The next morning, I met Nina at a lakeside cafe. Jasmine, you look like you're carrying a world on your shoulders. I told her everything again, my voice breaking. I feel trapped. I'm scared to leave. People will hate me for hurting him. Nina squeezed my hand. You can't live your life for others. Mason deserves honesty, and so do you. Her words settled inside me like seeds that needed time to grow. Another week passed. Mason planned a trip to Lake Geneva, hoping fresh air could fix what was breaking. I didn't want to go, but I said yes again, afraid to disappoint him. The lake was breathtaking, water shimmering like glass, pine trees swaying, evening sky a soft lavender glow. But inside me, everything was still gray. That evening, Mason handed me a small velvet box. Inside, a delicate silver heart necklace. My heart is yours, always. Tears pooled, not from happiness, but from suffocating guilt. Thank you. Later, while he slept peacefully, I sat on the floor staring at the necklace. And in that quiet, I finally understood. This life wasn't mine. This marriage wasn't mine. And staying would only continue breaking us both. Back in Chicago, I started writing letters to myself. Honest, raw, unfiltered. Jasmine, you are not a bad person. You made a mistake, but you never meant to hurt anyone. Mason is a good man, but he isn't your home. You must be brave, Jasmine. You must save yourself. Those words became my quiet anchor, a place to return to whenever the guilt began to drown me. One evening, I finally gathered the courage to face Mason. He sat across from me, hands folded, eyes full of quiet hope. Mason, I need to talk to you. His breath tightened. Jasmine, don't give up on us, please. Hearing the desperation in his voice broke my heart, but I had carried this truth too long. Mason, I don't love you. I never did. I married you because I was hurting. I hoped love would grow, but it didn't. For a long moment, he just stared at me. Silence filled the room like a heavy fog. Finally, he nodded, tears gathering, but his voice steady. I knew, Jasmine. I could see it. I just didn't want to believe it. We cried, both of us. There was no anger, no shouting, only two hearts grieving different dreams. That night I slept on the couch, whispering into the dark. I finally told the truth. The next few days were heavy with awkward kindness. We lived in the same house, but in different worlds. He still made coffee, still left a cup on the counter. But the hope in those small gestures was gone. One evening, I told him I was moving out. He looked down at the floor for a long time before speaking. I'm not angry, he whispered. Just sad. But maybe this is the right thing. Tears blurred my vision. I never wanted to hurt you, Mason. You didn't break my heart, he said softly. I gave it to you freely. I don't regret loving you. The next morning, I packed a small suitcase. Mason helped me carry it to the door. If you ever need anything, call me. Thank you for everything, I whispered. You were always good to me. Take care, Jasmine. I walked out. I didn't look back. Naina drove me to her apartment, where I cried for hours, not for the marriage ending, but for the burden I had carried for so long. The following weeks were quiet, slow, healing. Long walks by the lake, breathing deeper than I had in years. One afternoon, a flyer for a creative writing class caught my eye. Something stirred inside me, small but warm. So I signed up. The class became a new beginning. I learned to write through my emotions, to release pain I had never given voice to. One night, I wrote,
I lost love before I ever found it, but now I am finding myself. Months passed. I moved into a tiny studio near a bookstore. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. I painted the walls soft yellow, placed fresh flowers on the windowsill, welcomed sunlight each
Morning like a quiet blessing. Sometimes loneliness visited me, but freedom lived beside it, and that made everything different. One day, I found the silver heart necklace Mason had given me. I placed it in a box with a note. "Thank you. I couldn't wear it, but I'll never forget your kindness." Nina returned it for me. Seasons changed, and so did I. Softly, slowly, beautifully. I smiled again. Real smiles. I made new friends, wrote stories of heartbreak and healing, learned to sit with myself without fear. One night, looking into the mirror, I saw a woman still healing, but alive, honest, free. "It's not a perfect story," I whispered, "but it's mine." If anyone listening feels trapped the way I once did, please remember, you are not alone. Your heart matters. Your truth matters. And it is never too late to choose yourself. Thank you for listening.